What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and welcome back to another YouTube video. Hope you're all having a good day, good night, whatever time it may be. Anyways, in today's video, we will be talking about the current leaking, data mining, Blender situation that is happening with Fortnite after the V14.40 update, and what the future of Fortnite leaking or 3D art will look like, as if you guys aren't familiar, in V14.40 of Fortnite, Epic Games decided they were going to compress the ever-living crap out of all their files, basically taking a 100 gigabyte game and condensing it all the way down to 20-ish to 30-ish gigabytes, even if you have Save the World installed. Meaning that they basically did like a 60% deduction of file size, however that costed issues with leakers and data miners. So in today's video, we will be going over all the information you need to know over will leaking ever return back to normal, what's currently going on behind the scenes, if Blender artists, also known as 3D artists, would be able to continue making their 3D art, and everything else there is to really know. So if you are someone who worried about all of this, stay tuned to the end of the video because I have the answers for you. Alrighty, before we talk about what's going to happen in the future of leaking, I want to talk about the current file formats and explain which each one are, so that you guys will be able to further understand the terminology I mentioned later in this video. So first off is a pack file. Now a pack file, spelled P-A-K, is an archive used in video games such as Quake, Hexen, Fortnite, Far Cry, Half-Life, and Xen XGS engine games. Now these type of files include graphics, objects, textures, sounds, and other data in general packaged into a single file. So instead of just going out there and making a game and having all the textures and stuff just open for everyone to look in a file, it's all nicely packaged into a certain file called a .pack file. The next term we will be mentioning throughout this video is oodle or oodle texture compression, or just oodle compression in general. So what this is it's pretty much a newer technology which promises to drastically shrink game file sizes, reducing what you, the consumer, need to download and store on your computer or your console. This in reality will speed up load times of video games, however textures may take more time to actually load in at the highest quality. The reason for this is because oodle texture compression promises to allow you to change the file size and compress it anywhere from 10% smaller all the way to 50% smaller. And considering how much Fortnite's file size went down, I can say that they probably cracked that up to the max. The third and final terminology I'll be using in this video is .ucas or .ucas. This is a file format that, as Tiger Hyper describes it, is a data container. They basically contain all the data similar to such as a .pack file, so it just has the raw data of the files in it, and it's under just a different name. It's something new, but still kind of the same in reality. So a .pack and a .ucas are kind of the same but slightly different. Alrighty, now that we have had some terms described, I do want to mention something. A lot of people say, oh, they obviously did this just because they want to ruin leakers. They don't want leakers to be a thing. Why would they want people to leak their game? However, in reality, through people who have contacts with people at Epic, such as most leakers normally talk to someone called Magma Reef, who's more on the banning side of things, they really kind of didn't plan for this. They knew that leaking would probably break, but their intention wasn't to break leaking. The intention of this update, the V14.40 update, which was the file compression update, was simply to make it future-proof, because as we go on and as more content gets added to Fortnite, the file size is going to grow and grow. This can be seen like games such as Destiny 2, which has introduced the Destiny Content Vault in order to keep the file size lower. So in reality, Epic Games is just future-proofing their game, not only so that they can continue adding more content without having a game the size of Call of Duty, for example, but also so that when they do add more content and when they do release more stuff, download sizes are smaller, giving everyone a more convenient time downloading it so that more people can get back into the action as soon as possible. So for anyone out there thinking that Epic Games was purposely doing this update to stifle leaking to ruin it, that is entirely false. Alright, now it's time to talk about the leaking programs themselves, those being F-Model and U-Model. Now F-Model is more intended for actually data mining games and finding unreleased content or even older content, and U-Model is more for grabbing 3D meshes nowadays and making Blender art. So I will be talking about F-Model first and then moving more into U-Model later down the line in this video. So F-Model was created back in March 2019 as a .pack file explorer that was originally fully dedicated to Fortnite, however now works on more games such as Spellbreak. Over time, more people such as myself started to discover F-Model and use the program, and I used to contribute to it a lot more than I do now. However, I'm kind of like taking a back seat right now because I don't want to accidentally break stuff. But anyways, after the v14.40 update to Fortnite, they stopped really using a .pack file. Now, it still gets used for things like strings, so when you're in game and you see, compete. When you see the compete tab screen, that is a file stored in the game that actually just says, like, it's a list of every single thing you see, all the text in game. Those are still in a pack file, however, now all the textures and all the, like, cosmetics, all the files are now in something called a UCAS file. Pack files used to use something called a .pack and a .sig, which a .sig was basically kind of like, oh hey, this is always here with this file, and the same thing exists with a UCAS file having a .utalk file. In reality, a .utalk is the same as a sig, which is pretty much kind of pointless for the leaking side of things, but is just there in collaboration with the actual file that has the textures itself, nowadays being known as UCAS. So to boil it all down to what I just said into like a small single sentence that pretty much everyone can understand, Fortnite, when they made their update, not only decided to compress the files, but they also started using new file formats, which programs such as F-Model and U-Model simply were not prepared to handle and actually load. So all that's cool, but how does that explain what the future of leaking will look like using a program such as F-Model? Well, as of right now, F-Model is going through a lot of development stages trying to learn more about how to use a UCAS file, and the same goes with U-Model. Both of them are really trying to develop and make their programs good for the consumer to use. Now, the thing about it is, they can't just flip a switch and then everything works like normal. They have to manually go through each cosmetic, each file that people would actually extract an image from or to extract the JSON from, and actually go through and make sure each one works. Because if they get characters working, that doesn't mean all of a sudden a Save the World weapon ID will work. So in reality, we may not see Save the World leaks for longer than we see Battle Royale leaks. The reason I say this is because obviously a lot of devs and a lot of leakers are more focused on the Battle Royale side of things, and Save the World kind of is left on the back burner due to it not really seeing that much new content anymore after the announcement of it not going free to play. So regarding the future of leaking, no, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to suddenly die off and no one will be able to leak ever again. It's going to be hurt ever since the v14.40 update, but every single update, it's like growing pains. Every single update, we will start getting more and more content thanks to developers such as G-Matrix, Asval, Officer, X-Tiger-Hyper-X, and much more developers who are working non-stop relentlessly on making sure leaking can go back to its former roots. So for those out there scared that, oh hey, for some reason leakers are able to grab like a character but they can't grab the back bling, they can't grab challenges. It's all being worked on, it just takes time because no one was prepared for what file format Epic would switch to, and no one was prepared for them to compress the images using something called Oodle, as I mentioned earlier. So in reality, for those scared that, oh no, my favorite leakers are out of like a job, they won't be able to leak anymore, we will be able to, and you guys will be able to leak as well. Once everything starts getting back to a functional state where everything a normal leaker would be leaking can be shown again, I will be remaking my F-Model tutorial so that you guys can obviously follow along and start data mining using the new formats. It's all just a matter of time at this point though. Now let's dive deep into U-Model and talk about what's going on over on that side of things, as U-Model is more used for things such as Blender artists who want to actually see a mesh, and it's just used for seeing meshes in reality or doing basically what F-Model does but in a slightly different way. So the creator of U-Model, Gildor, made an update on his Twitter account recently stating everything regarding Fortnite and his program. The main important thing that he mentioned was that Unreal Engine 4.26 data was now supported, and more stuff such as a Zen loader was fully supported now. So he's able to load custom games made in version 4.26 with no issues. Now, despite this, there are still issues with U-Model in Fortnite. While you can see, like, here's the file format, here's the list of everything, you can't actually load any of the assets. All 355,000 U assets relating to Fortnite are getting an unversioned properties pop-up, and this is causing nothing to be loaded. So you may see a file structure of, oh hey, here's all the back blings, here's all the character meshes, and when you click on something, nothing will load and nothing will crash. This is because just UModel is still working as well on getting everything prepared so that people can use it again, especially for Fortnite. So basically, if you use UModel right now, you won't be able to export anything from Fortnite. And what exporting means, for those who may be younger, is just taking something that is in this .ucas file and putting it on your computer in a uncompressed format. So if you wanted to bring it into something such as Blender or Photoshop, you could. It will require a lot of coding for Gildor to actually fix his program in order to allow exporting of the new file formats and everything for Fortnite. So right now, Gildor and his program is kind of in its own entity. FModel, I would say, is a little bit ahead in development. However, Gildor obviously wants to make sure his stuff is perfect, considering his program is not only used for Fortnite, but also millions of programs such as Rocket League and any game really made from any version of Unreal Engine. So first off, if you watched this far in the video, I appreciate you watching this and being willing to learn more about what's going on behind the scenes with leaking and what the future will look like. So in reality, leaking is a waiting game. It's kind of a game of cat and mouse at this point, where Epic Games wants to make sure their game's future-proof, but we have to chase after it and actually try grabbing it in order to, and metaphorically of course, in order to use it and make sure we can see the files again. So in reality, is leaking doomed? Is Blender art doomed? Will we be doomed forever? Will Epic Games change their formats every single update? No. It's only a minor setback, guys. As time goes on, the wonderful developing community we have in Fortnite who like to open source projects such as FModel will continue working around the clock, and hopefully, to any developers who may have watched this far in the video working on FModel and their own programs, make sure you're getting some sleep, make sure you're drinking enough water. I'm sorry to be like Mama Monkey right now, but I just want to make sure you guys are still staying healthy. I appreciate all of your efforts. But yeah, in reality, it's kind of just a waiting game. Things may break in the future that worked previously. Things may work in the future that broke previously. It's always going to change at this point until we can figure out how to solidly look through every single file without issue. But until next time, I hope this video was informative. I know it was a little bit longer than my average video, but I wanted to explain literally everything I could about the situation, since I get DMs all the times asking, hey, I used your FModel tutorial and suddenly it doesn't work anymore. I can't extract this. What's going on? If you guys want to communicate with the people working on FModel, go to their Discord, which will be linked in the description down below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.